I was doing crazy press on here with Impa Kasanganay, who returns to action at UFC 46 on March 11th. How are you?
I'm great, my man. How are you doing? Thanks for
I'm
having me on,
good.
Sally.
Yeah, I'm good, man. I'm good. Happy talking to you again. You're 11 days out. How are you feeling?
Feel great. Body's great. Weight's great. Focused in, man. I'm just at peace, ready to go get this victory.
Awesome. Awesome. It's awesome to hear. It's been a minute since we talked on camera and got a lot of things to catch up on.
Yeah.
First of all, I guess firstly, I saw a post on your Instagram a couple of weeks ago of you with like some dirt bikes. Do you like dirt bikes?
Oh, it was motorcycles, man. I was with my friends at Hex Moto. Yeah, about once a week. Maybe, yeah, right now it's about once a week. I go out there and I just work on bikes, learning about bikes, like vintage motorcycles, like 1970, 60, whatever motorcycles, and just take them apart, put them together. It's a lot of fun.
That's awesome. Have you always liked motorcycles?
Yeah, since I was a little kid, I've always wanted to ride them and just just love bikes, man.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Mhm.
We haven't talked since well, not on camera since since you parted with the UFCs and with the UFC with the UFC and I just wanted to know firstly the day that it happened, what was going through your mind and like were you surprised?
No, not really surprised. It was more just like, um, just excited to see what's next. As far as they said, I was told at least that they could have re-signed me at the time, and I was okay, cool. Got to move forward, see what's next, see what's out there, and God just blessed me, man, with the Eagle. A lot of people were a lot of moving parts to that, and a lot helped me, blessed me to sign with them and get a solid contract and just be able to keep doing what I love, and then keep building. Um, at that day, I was just like, okay. And then it was more like, I love the UFC. It was fun being in there. And I mean, who knows, maybe be back in there one day. But um, I was told once, don't be sad that it's over, be happy that it happened. And that doesn't mean it can never happen again. So I was more like, all right, cool. Like, just ready to move forward, see what's out there, whether it's PFL, Bellator, one, and then end up signing with Eagle. But, it was a cool place to be. Some people are really coming up like you're hoping to get into a major organization, usually the UFC, but some people care about Bellator one. And then it was like, cool, I have options, and I'm didn't want to take that for granted. So just took some time to make some decisions and just focus on getting better. And here we are with Eagle.
Did you get a lot of options after you were released?
Yeah, I had some we had a couple different options, man. And I had opportunity, uh, PFL, they had that. They had the PFL season, they had the PFL Challenger Series, they had possibly Bellator if that was to become a thing. Maybe fight in Japan, um, fight in France a little bit. We'll see. There were just different opportunities and good offers, and just way to keep building my stock and learning and growing and seeing what was out there. But then Eagle came along, and it's great. It's right down the road. It's right down in Miami, so that's great. And it's I believe it's going to be something pretty big. So I'm grateful for their whole team. They're very professional, so it's cool.
Awesome to hear. Yeah, I mean, it was just kind of you say that it's always possible to go back to the UFC because and that isn't always a possibility. And plus, people have to remember you've only been a professional for 3 years.
Yeah.
And you're 28 years old, still young.
Mhm.
So like you said, this one door closed, another door open, and
Mhm.
who knows, right?
Yeah, who knows, man? It's like I'm not bent on like, I mean, if that's God's plan. I mean, my focus is like wherever I'm going to be the longest to be champion. So if it's Eagle for a long time, become champion, then go to Bellator, become champion, go back to UFC, become champion, whatever it is, wherever God has me for the longest. Right now, focus is to get better, raise my stock, and become the best fighter to ever do it. So this is my path.
You also left first round management.
Mhm.
What was that about?
Oh man, just it was time for a change. I just feel like I need a different representation, for like where I stand and what I stood for and communication. I'll never bad talk anybody. I specifically worked with like a guy named Lou DeBono, awesome guy. He recently got married and just a cool guy. Just it was a better opportunity for me somewhere else. And now I'm working with the guys, Dave Martin and Warren and Randall, and those guys are awesome. They're real professional, great communication, and I think it's just a better decision for my career moving forward. First round, there were many blessings in it. I that always made me feel like I need to address things. I tweeted that I wasn't with them. I guess it opened up more doors for me, but it was never, a slight at first round. It was more just saying, hey, I'm out there. I want to talk to different people, and all the people that um, showed interest in representing me were awesome. It was just that I needed a better representation for myself. I think the first round does a great job for some people, and you see some people's careers like, and they get big fights, they get big money fights, they're doing well. Like look at Masvidal, look at Jones's early career, look at Perry, all the guys that they've represented, and girls too who've done well as their time has went on. Those who are still doing well, like I think one of the best guys like Ilya Tupuria or something like that. I can't pronounce the name well, but he's a great fighter, cool guy, and they're representing him, so they're doing a good job. And it just wasn't the best fit for me, and I moved forward.
Gotcha. No, totally. It makes sense for you and in your career, and sometimes it's just time to move on. Eagle
Yeah,
FC. Talk to me how it all came to be.
Eagle FC. So, man, a lot of moving parts, a lot of moving parts. So I was debating on where I was going to go. Um, Representatives from Eagle reached out and were saying, "Hey, what do you think about doing?" And I'm not too sure yet. Right now, I'm just focused on getting better. Well, hey, we have an opportunity for you to fight an Eagle. I was actually watching my teammate Delano Taylor, who just fought this past weekend, with another friend of mine, Mark Martin, and I hope he heals up. But solid fight, was gonna scrap. But watching Delano's last fight regionally at Titan, and was just in the back with him hanging out and just on a phone call. One of the Eagle representatives reached out. I was just asking, "Hey, what are you thinking about doing?" Offered an awesome contract. Some of my teammates knew some people in Eagle, and just swear without them, I wouldn't be here. It's just somebody recommended me. They said, "Hey, he's a good guy. He's looking for a place to go," and just thing after thing, conversation after conversation, they just kept telling me, what they're excited about doing. Kevin Lee trains here now. Looks like he's doing pretty well. Tyrone Spong's there. All the guys who are represented by Dominance and all them. A lot of them train with all those guys, so they're pretty close to the representatives of Eagle. And it just seemed like a great fit. Talked to my coaches, which became, talked to my family, my coaches, which came down to like my final decision and after praying on it. But just trying to see what it could be. Pretty cool going to 175 for a welterweight class rather than 170. It's like going from 85 to 70 was new for me. And then now having that little bit of room, less weight to cut, I think, is better and healthier for a long-term career, depending on if Eagles going to be long-term, go back to 85, stay at 70. So it was one of those things that I just decided instead of hopping right into PFL right away and, gunning for the $1 million, like can make $1 million outside of fighting too. So just keep hustling. And I knew I could spread my fights out a little bit. Like y'all know me, I want to fight every weekend, but with Eagle, I feel like the fight once, maybe I fight April, maybe I fight May, and then I take some time, get better, fight maybe 2 more times before the end of the year. If it's 3, it's still a little bit more spread out rather than every 8 weeks or so. It still could average around that, but there's not the obligation to do that. So I can really manage my time, my weight, my fights, and really that family life. And it just becoming a better fighter, becoming a better man. So that's kind of how it came to be. There were like different options, and I'd love to fight overseas, like in Japan, like with Horizon or different organizations, but it's just, you never know how things go with COVID, right? Whether nothing political, but just whether a country has stricter policies or not, whatever their stance is. And now with everything going on kind of in the East, it's gotta be careful. You're traveling a lot. You don't know what place is gonna get shut down. You don't know what the world situation is gonna be. So I'm grateful that Eagle ended up being the best option, man.
Is it a multi-fight deal or are you just one fight right now?
I only have 4 fights. So 4 fights, maybe renegotiate, add more, or maybe see, go do great in Eagle, then go somewhere else. But I don't know. But right now I have 4 fights.
Awesome. Well, and they gave you a tough dude right out the gate with Raymond. What are your thoughts on him as an opponent?
Yeah, exactly what you said. He's a tough guy, and that's what I'm excited for. I mean, I didn't step into fight anything less than the best warriors. So for me, that's a big honor, and I'm looking forward to the opportunity. I know people that know him say great things about him as a man, and it shows a lot in the way he fights. He comes to fight, and he's skilled. He's has great coaching. He comes from a great pedigree, right? As far as his own personal accomplishments. And those are the guys I want to fight, man. You know, my focus is to go do what I need to do, impose my will, claim my victory, and just, you know, show respect by fighting the best way that I can. Um, you know, Coach Hooft, Coach Jones always talking about showing up. And my focus isn't to go out there, oh, I'm gonna go here, do this. Like, I'm gonna claim this victory, go dominate this fight and move forward and just show up. You know, I'm not here to do anything less, not here to make a big show about it. You know, go out there, finish my hand raise, tip my hat, move forward. You know, and then fight again. Hopefully, fight again in May or fight another solid guy. Then keep building, man. It'd be great. Become like their inaugural 175 champ, and hopefully more guys come from other organizations or top prospects around the world get their opportunities. You know, fight some of those guys who are coming from that, you know, Eastern Europe, all over the world, who want the opportunity to fight America, fight great Americans, whatever. Just want to, as my fighting career goes, I want to keep fighting better and better fighters. And, you know, part of that is me becoming a better and better fighter so that when the time comes, let's say there is a time I'm fighting Adesanya, maybe there is a time I'm fighting, you know, Usman, whoever it may be, like when whoever the champion in each organization, when that time comes, or people are coming to fight me, right? You know, it's like you're always looking to fight the next guy. Maybe somebody's coming to fight you, and I'm just looking for the different opportunities. And I'm excited about him. He's a very cool style fighter. I like the way he fights, and I've been blessed. So, you know, to me, it's a sign of respect. You know, I didn't just get some random guy who is not as dedicated to the craft. You can see that he is in the way he fights, and he had an awesome performance in his first fight with Anthony, right? And that's how I want to go in there, right? I want to go in there and, you know, make a statement, move forward, and shake hands, man. Maybe we'll train together down the road. Maybe not. Maybe we won't like each other. I don't know, but I know that there's guys gonna be standing in that cage with me and gonna get after it.
Who are some of your training partners this camp? And you've been at Stanford now for a minute.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
how are you liking it? Like, do you feel like you're part of the family now?
Yeah. You know, Stanford's become home for sure. Like, it's definitely home. You know, Coach Hoof, Coach Jones, Coach Stroud, Coach Conley, Coach Nick Lentz, yeah. Said Coach Jones, yeah, Coach Dr. Peacock, like all my training partners, it's been great, man. You know, I got really from, you know, Phil Haas, Andre Fiallo, Tyler Ray, and I moved around a few, Ian Gary, Matthew, Jason Jackson, you know, Delano, just the list goes on and on and on and on and on. Like, you know, Garrett Fosdick, I fought him in my pro debut, and he's an excellent training partner. You know, AJ, he just signed with Bellator, scrappy dude. You know, Mark, been really getting some great rounds. You know, Angla, that was cool. We worked together a lot before his last fight, and he's just an awesome training partner. And you know, it was kind of cool. Just different people I've got to work with over time. It's been great. But, you know, at Sanford, man, there's always somebody you can learn from. Always somebody you can learn from. Somebody who's traveling from overseas to train here or whatever. But it's always a great training partner. You know, Sean Soriano. I said, why did I say Nick Soriano? Who's that? Nick Soriano. Is he a wrestler? That's the wrestler, right? Yeah, Soriano.
Yeah, I think so.
Sean Soriano, he's been awesome. Great details, you know. I got to train my guy Sasha from oh my gosh, where's he from? Is he from Ukraine? Maybe, but he's been an awesome training partner, and he's an excellent kickboxer. So it's cool, man. I mean, I have great looks, and you know, I think that overall, like the guys that I train with are always better than the people that I fight, you know, or just as good. You know, like not putting the people that I fight, like Raimond, he's a really good fighter, and I know he'd fit in if he came to Stanford anyway. But I'm just saying overall, like you just always have a training partner who's a killer. You know, and that's cool. So I'm just grateful man.
Yeah, when I went down to Stanford when I was in town for the PFL, and I went for the sparring day, man, that room is just full of killers. It's insane.
Crazy, right? Crazy. It's always like the place I'm always needed to be. You know, I was at Jimmo and then came here, and being in a room where every turn you get, it's guys who are coming to fight, want to fight, and they're putting their heart soul into it, and just they take it seriously. It's their craft. They show up daily. They push you. They, like Coach Jones said about That was an old video. I might have even been here, but it's like honor your talent, honor your teammates, honor your gym, and showing up. And that really challenges me. Like, what could I do to do that? And we're a team. We're really a team here at Sanford. You know, Coach Navarro is awesome too. Been working with him. He's awesome. So he's been in my corner too. And I didn't get to mention him earlier, but there's so many people to learn from. And it's like there's that saying, you build it and they will come. And that's what Sanford is to me. And it's just a great, great place to be.
Yeah, and I've always heard from everyone I've talked to and interviewed that just that feels like a family environment. Like it's just
Mhm.
that's just what Stanford is.
Yeah, you see a lot of people. Well, you know Tuco, right?
Yeah.
You were talking to Tuco last time I saw you, and he's one of the best people I've ever met. Man, he's always checking in on you. He's like a he's like that cool uncle, you know. He's like
Oh,
that cool. He's always checking in on somebody. He's always seeing like how you doing, what's going on, challenge you. Hey, why'd you come in late? Or hey, what's going on with you? Hey, how you doing? You need help? What's like? He really, really cares about people, man. He makes it bigger than just fighting. Actually, Tuco was one of the first people that called me. I mean, it was cool. Like right after the UFC and I that like a split or whatever you want to call it. He called me right away. He said, "Hey man, you good?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm good. Why? What's up?" He's, "You sure you good?" I'm like, "Yeah." And he was asking me about the UFC, and I wasn't thinking about it, but the I was thinking about it, but I wasn't like bothered by it. But just the fact that a guy like Tuco will check in, right? And now he's about to fight for his defend his title in a couple of weeks and in 3 weeks, and he's a good guy. Like he's a really really good guy. Always opening his home to people. Always wanting to help. Just cool example. When I think about Tuco, man, like he's a cool example of Sanford because one of our teammates, Tial, if I had to one championship, he has like a sushi spot. He said, "Hey, before we go to conditioning, we should all go by, Teal spot." He's just always trying to find a way to incorporate the team. And especially when I first got here, him, Brendan Allen, everybody, Phil Haas, Phil invited me to church, just like different things. It just places, made this place home for me. And it's been cool. It's been a cool spot. And it still is. And it's gonna be home for a long time.
that's awesome. How do you see the fight with Raymond going? And do you have a prediction for the fight?
Yeah, man. I feel like the first round's gonna be a lot of, you know, feeling it out, stepping forward, hitting my shots, really controlling the pace, pushing the pace. Come the second round, keep pressing my foot on the gas, keep pushing, dominating, man, and just be able to drop them or hurt them and put them away in the second or early third round. I think he's a solid fighter and be smart. He's got excellent kicks, so just gonna like really work in that range and he's got good grappling. I mean, he's an overall solid fighter. So really just being patient and really have like that controlled, patient aggressiveness that'll, lead me to the finish. It'll avail itself, man, and finish with my hand raised.
Kind of already alluded to it, but you said you want to fight 3 times. Is that what you want your 2022 to look like?
I like to fight four, really. Like let's get this content. I mean, for me, it'd be great, 2 fights, renegotiate all that stuff, like business wise. But yeah, for real, like I would love to fight 4 times this year. Fight each quarter, fight March, May, recover, train, and then fight. About August and maybe December, or August and November. Whatever, and just really, really have a great 2022. Get back on that active, nonstop fighting, do what I'm called to do. Walking what I'm made for. My pastor was talking about that this past weekend, and just doing what you're meant to do. A lot of things I learned this camp is like you just got to keep doing what you're called to do. I'm not made to do some other things. I love fighting. I love motorcycles. I love agriculture. I love farm animals, and that's really those are the things I love. I love my family, but like as far as things that I personally love, that's what I'm meant to do. I'm meant to fight, and that's what 2022 is going to be. I learned a lot about that this camp. Just really, really exerting myself, breaking myself in training, and there's no other thing that I'd rather be doing. So 2022, fight 4 times, go 4-0. Take it day by day, fight by fight, minute by minute, second by second. And, hopefully I'll be talking to you 4 or 5, 6 more, 8 more times, right? Before the fight, after the victories, and, have some great laughs and just make the best of the year.
Got a couple more things for you before I let you go. Main event, Kevin Lee, Diego Sanchez.
Oh, yeah.
Well, what are your thoughts on that?
I'm excited, man. I've trained with Kevin. Actually, so my fault. I didn't mention Kevin earlier, but we've been training a bunch this camp, and he's an awesome training partner. He's got some cool skill. You see why he fought for the title in the UFC and what he's done, and he's he's a cool training partner, a good guy. So uh, I'm excited for him. I think he puts Diego away, right? You know, Diego is a good fighter, tough, but I think Kevin's also smarter and tougher, and he's been training here at Sanford. So not just because he trains at Sanford that I'm calling it, but he's an excellent fighter and he's earned his way. And you know, Diego Sanchez has um, his skill sets. He has what he does, but I see Kevin really, really dominating that fight. Even like the longer it goes on, he's been training well, and just excited for him, man.
Um, and then so you're fighting at 175,
Mm-hmm.
which is cool. It's I mean, big positive
Yeah.
for you. I want to just kind of ask about that cut to 170 because I know that first cut was kind of rough for you, but you made it obviously. And I know that you kind of went to the PI and kind of got your body dialed in, but how was that second cut to 170?
Second cut 170. I had some other things going on, like health wise, but it was cool. Like I just it was more of a challenge. That's what it was. Like it was uh you learn like to handle things in the front end process, not so much like weight management, but just like taking care of your body, letting myself recover, right? In the early stages of training, which I think I did a lot better job this camp. Um, allow my body to recover, allow my body to rest, and I can just see that in my weight right now, and then the energy when I'm training and me staying healthy. So that's been great. And yeah, the second time to 170 was just it. It wasn't as clean as the first one, but there were like other things going on just with my body. I'll probably talk to you about that off camera, but um, definitely a lot better and healthier camp this time, and I'm excited.
What's the biggest thing from, you fought at middleweight for, like your first 6 fights or so.
Mhm.
What was the like what's the biggest thing about like changing in your training and diet to cut down to 175?
Really, it was just like a little less barbecue. Yeah, to be honest with you, um, really getting to 170. It wasn't about really a whole lot of the huge difference. It was just more like accepting the challenge. You knew like it's going to be a cut. 85 was really no cut at all. So I would sweat, and I'm like, okay, we're here. 70, it's a true cut, and it was just embracing the suffering, right? Embracing that point where you're understanding, like, I chose this path. I get to fight 4 times out the year, and if I get to suffer once or 2 or 3 times throughout the year, I count that as fortunate too, because what's on the other side of that is so much better. So it was just really a shift in my mindset. It was a shift in how I attacked it, I approached it, how I pushed the pace in training, how I recover on the weekends. The better I recover, the better my weight is. So that's been great, and I've learned that. Nutrition, been working with Dish Bliss Kitchen. She's a meal prep chef. She's awesome. She's also my girlfriend, but she's great. Um, she really, really takes care of me, and like is super, super knowledgeable, and just how to really, really manage your weight and like and challenge you. So that's been great. Um, yeah, rest and preparation has been it's been huge, and just how I push the pace in training. Um, Going into this fight, I mean, of course, too, it's cooler that it's a higher weight, but if it was at 170, it'd be pretty solid to be on track. But being at 175, I'm grateful. That's cool, and it just kind of gives me that. Hey, do I want to go down to 170? I want to stay at 175? Go somewhere else? Like, I just count it as a blessing. The PI was awesome. They taught me a lot. I still take notes from everything from the rehydration process. Shout out to Charles and his whole team, the whole nutrition team. They're great. And I think it was just kind of like Tuco. It's funny bringing up Tuco again, but he's like, hey, how do you think about this? Even in your young career, you've already fought in the UFC. You've seen it. You've seen what it's about. You could have done better, could have done worse, whatever. But you got to take notes, and definitely took some notes. And I really don't like at first. I never took time to really reflect on my time in the UFC, but I didn't realize like how much I actually learned and been able to learn and still learning from it. And if I overlooked it, maybe I wouldn't be where I am today, or I'd be waiting for a fight still. So, yeah, it's definitely helped me become a better professional, and like I'm excited to get after it on the 11th.
And I guess you kind of talk about like your UFC tenure, but like, I guess what your first UFC run, I guess how would you rate it? Just put it that way.
How would I rate it? So, if I'm going to give it a grade, I would say experience and moments and getting to know people, A plus. You know, just the staff's amazing. Dana White's cool. You know, Sean and Shelby and Mick Maynard. You know, thanks. You know, it was really really cool. You know, Mick Maynard's cool. They have interesting stories. So he he was awesome. You know, slid a note under his door. Got the second opportunity in the Contender Series. Um, I guess you know there's a song I actually listened to going on my second Contender Series, and it's called "The Second Time Around." It's a cool, like old school '80s funk song. And if you know my story, I fought on the Contender Series the first time, won, fought Kalen Hill, and the second time is when I got my contract. And I had my first run with the UFC, and I say it's kind of like my first time in the Contender Series. It's not how I wanted it to go. You know, I won two, I lost two, but if I am back in there, or if that's God's will, and when I'm back in there, God's will, become champion and go do great work. As far as performance wise, B plus or B really, because I didn't fight how I needed to fight in two fights, and I paid and uh, shout out to my opponents, Buckley and Harris, who I lost to, Carlson Harrison, but those are great lessons as well, uh, fight wise and outside the fight, and those are what helped me today, right? So um, my first run in the UFC, man, it was a blessing. And that's what I rated it as, just a big blessing. And it was cool. It's cool. I set my mind to do it and I did it. And I believe I can go back if that's God's plan and whatever. But um it made me a better fighter. So it was cool. So now I just want to see the people that I fought do really well and keep increasing the careers. I know Maki's in the organization and Sasha's probably going somewhere else, but you see like Carlston and Buckley did great. He's still doing great. I want to see them both do really, really, really well. Um, and just see what God can do in their careers and their lives and for their families. And if we fight again, we fight again. And I'll take them out. And if I don't fight them again, I just keep rising in my career. And that's my thoughts on the UFC.
And like we said, man, like you made it to the UFC with 3 years experience. Like that's wild. Anyway, man, I just want to say thank you so much for your time. It's always a pleasure talking with you. If you want to plug your social media, plug your sponsors, the floor is yours.
Man, yes, super, man. First of all, shout out to Sanford, Victory Leaf, Takedown, Dish Bliss Kitchen. Thank you for having me on your show. Always, man. It's always great talking to you. Um, Shout out to everybody who's been super supportive, right? I mean, I'm just grateful for y'all, and shout out to my team, shout out to my coaches, and just grateful, man. Thank God. Like it's about time to fight again. It was weird. I was kind of going through some time, like a weird time where I was not fighting and in and out of training, just trying to get life situated. And I know I'm meant to fight, and it's cool. Like, and you need those times in your career. Like I'm blessed to go through some cool situations in my career, right? Like we were talking about like, being rejected the first time I fought in the UFC and like on the Contender Series, sorry, and learning that, and then having this happen now, not fighting an eagle, just like learning how to be a pro. So I'm just grateful for the lessons. I mean, I feel like my lessons have been some of my biggest sponsors, right? And just excited, man. Like, just excited to fight again. It's like this it's not just a feeling, it's like this thing in my blood, man. I haven't felt it in a while. So it's like let's go. Yeah, just time to show up and do what I love and get in there, whether it's bloody or whatever, but just go claim this victory. And that's where I am, man. I'm just in a very, very happy, peaceful, just excited, focused place. And that's what I'm grateful for. So that's a huge in a way to me, that's a sponsor. That right there just gives me a lot of fuel, man. So that's where I am.